shiny, plastic, black mirror fascist, obsessed capitalist. Are you feeling guilty Catholic? Pretty, picturesque Facebook status, happy family and happy marriage, like the magazine pages, superimposed with Photoshop and happy faces, where cancer doesn't exist, and your daddy lives for ages, and the black babies with the swollen bellies are only moments on your telly until you switch it off and put your makeup on. So walk your dog vegan and put your makeup on, posing perfectly pouting and put your makeup on. Hypocrite, selfie, snowflake nation, not making a difference, not voting, not independence, cause it's irrelevant to how your hair grows. You're pretty, and it's a pity that you're prepared to perpetuate your particulars on Instagram and prefer not to educate and overcomplicate an avocado. Like you know the answers to the problems of this world. Meditation and mindful. How about realistically having kids to feed on minimum wage and suicidal without letting your wife know? Cause I don't kill myself for fashion, not a psycho for the sake of it. Hate the name of it and really ashamed of it. I hate your glossy, double tongue, so in circle, talky, trashy magazine. Like Sebastian's dreams, your friends are just old plastic, and it's lonely out there. I don't care about your implants or artificial intelligence, agony ants, chitty chat irrelevance, designer shirt and pants. So keep on spending, goodbye pretty people, it's such an ugly ending. Keep pretending, keep on telling yourself that you're so important, like everyone else. Pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people. Pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people. Pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people. Pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people. Fight for your rights, but you die to lose.
Goodbye, pretty people, I'll miss you. All your little giggling and self-serving circles, self-absorbed, all shallow surface, all that fucking money and totally worthless, in entirety distractive.
What is up? How you guys doing? Yep. That's how it is sometimes, Susan. What's up, Arizona? What a coinkadink. Fur baby. What the fuck? What's that? What you talking about, Willis? There we go. What's up, Nomad? Hey, Jules. Rockaway. What's up, kid? It's good to see you, man. Always good to see you. What'd you do? Huh? Nah, I think that file's corrupted. I need to delete it. I have like 3. I wasn't sure which one to pick. I picked the wrong one. Not the first time I've done that. Not the last. Oh yeah, duh, fur babies. No, I don't like the heater. I mean, the heater's on, but in my office I have a window. I have the window open, it's ice cold. I like the cold. I just don't like my feet to be cold. So I'm literally wearing like, I guess probably shouldn't even describe it. But legs are exposed. They're not cold. It's just my toes. No new arrests from my understanding, but there is some new information in regards to Richard Allen possibly maybe being hospitalized. So that story seems to be slowly developing. We'll see what happens with that. Yeah, it's the right one, but I have 3 different versions, and one of them is a corrupted file, and the audio kicks out for some reason. What's up, daisies? What it looked like. Name that movie. I don't know. Like, see, that shit keeps kicking out too. What the fuck? Oh, it's because I don't have it on loop. That's why. There we go. Well, I was sitting here and I was getting ready to clean out some of my playlists. And I have a playlist titled Live for things I wanted to potentially show live. But a lot of them are really outdated, but they're still interesting. So I said, hey, fuck it. I'm going to go live. We'll do an Insomnia style. Shit, I can't sleep. And I don't know. We'll just go through these videos. Some of them are kind of irrelevant, I guess you could say. But, I mean, it's all true crime. It's all interesting stuff. Jessica Pierce is hospitalized for what? Because he's just sleeping all the time? No, this is like hospitalized prior to his arrest. Okay, so these are all going to be directly from YouTube. I didn't have a chance to separate them. So I'm going to be kind of bouncing back and forth to avoid any of those little advertisements that might pop up. So just bear with me. Put up that photo of Tobe laser beam. What did you call him? Fucking laser beam? That's crazy, bro. Laser beam. I don't know why that's so funny right now. In his office looking at the oh yeah, where he was who was he with? Oh damn, can you guys hear those coyotes? I don't know if you guys can hear that. Coyotes are going fucking crazy. Hey, what's up, Michelle? Good to see you. Hey, Teresa. Insanity defense is used 1% of cases and succeeds 25% of the time when it's used. Wow, that's not bad. All right, daisies, I will. Man, I got a shit ton. Some of them are really strange. Some of them are just like, but they're all interesting. I mean, I saved them for a reason, you know? Know what I'm saying? Blurry words on the screen. That sounds like the beginning of a poem. Woman. Whoa, man. Did she kill my cat? Is she Mrs. X? What you know about that? Oh, you can hear that? I wonder if here, let me see if I can turn the mic up. Actually, it sounds like they stopped. Oh, no, there they are. Did you guys hear that one? Yeah, they drive my dogs crazy. Yes, Nomad. Carroll County Sheriff arrested, but this ain't Carroll County, Indiana. See, you know, when you're searching Carroll County, there's a couple different Carroll counties, but sometimes you come across these cases where you're like, oh shit, these are still interesting, you know, so you hold on to them. They might not be related, but they're still, you know, interesting. Hey, what's up, Bossy? Good to see you. Well, shit. If my mic's too loud, let me know. I've been fucking with the volume. All right, let's check this first one out.
The sheriff of Carroll County is normally locking people up for charges of burglary and drugs. Now he's facing similar charges that, if found guilty, could put him away for several years.
In a small town, you would expect the word to spread about the sheriff getting busted.
He lost his way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the guy was really tough on the, you know, busting people and stuff like that. And then when it turns around and happens to him, it's okay. You know, it's just not right.
This criminal complaint paints an unlawful picture of Sheriff Jamie Kinman. It says back in February, he went into this home in Carrollton twice. He's accused of stealing hydrocodone pills. The
Dang,
complaint
you
adds
fucking drug
Kinman
addict.
was in uniform and carrying a gun.
The drugs, the addiction is a powerful thing.
The sheriff faced prior charges of
Tina?
misconduct and tampering with evidence. He was found not guilty last year. Talking to people around Carrollton, opinions range from
Good one,
disappointment
Misha.
to predictable.
Anybody in that situation,
For the win.
he is a good guy, but that doesn't help the situation of him being the sheriff. That's what made it all look bad.
I've known him forever, and he's not a nice guy. He's truly not. He got lost in the drugs, and that's his fault. I mean, you walk around with the badge, you're not supposed to do that. End of story.
Yeah, bro.
We tried reaching out to the sheriff, but so far, no response. I'm Curtis Fuller, WLWT News 5.
Bam.
Your finance.
So we'll pause that. Take that off screen. We'll see if we can get a system here. There we go. What's up, Grunge? Yeah, you guys didn't know what movie that was? That's horrible. See, some of these are like 21 seconds. Here, let's check this one out.
A Carroll County man accused and arrested of attempted
This is
murder
Indiana.
after police say he threw gasoline on a woman and then lit her on fire. It happened last night in Burroughs. Police say Robert Nethercuts was fighting with a woman he was living with. Investigators say the woman was able to put the flames out before medics arrived. She was rushed to a hospital in Kokomo.
A Carroll County man has been arrested in connection to
A Carroll County man.
Sorry, I thought there'd be a
Carroll County
commercial.
man
There
has
wasn't.
been arrested in connection to his wife's murder. The sheriff's office there says they've arrested 36-year-old Marcus Bolin after his wife, Cassandra Bolin, was found dead on Holloway Drive in Hillsville on Sunday. The investigation is still ongoing, but so far, Bolin has been charged with murder and felony child neglect.
Yeah, some of these are really random. They were part of cases I was covering at the time.
A Lafayette man convicted of child solicitation is a person of interest in an attempted abduction in Carroll County. News 18's Samantha Tiki joins us with the latest on this investigation. Sam.
Gina, Carroll County Sheriff's deputies believe 31-year-old Kevin Jamison of Lafayette is a person of interest in that attempted abduction on Tuesday. And now he's behind bars in Tippecanoe County. But it was his alleged involvement in the attempted abduction that led to his arrest.
It's a parent's worst fear.
An individual in
I know that guy.
A black Jeep with
Told
red
laser
doors
beam.
and approached her and was attempting to entice her into his vehicle.
And for the parents of an 11-year-old girl riding her bike in a rural part of Carroll County Tuesday evening, that fear almost became a reality.
She had indicated he had offered her $10 as an additional enticement.
Carroll County Sheriff Tobe Lesenby says the attempted abduction happened on County Road 100 North, just west of State Road 29. The day after releasing a description of the vehicle and the person of interest, they got a call from Lafayette police who located a matching vehicle and its driver, 31-year-old Kevin Jamison of Lafayette.
He provided information which was generated into our reports and went back to his parole officer, which was considered a violation of his parole.
Jamison was arrested Thursday evening in Tippecanoe County for violating parole. He has prior drug charges and was convicted of child solicitation in 2008, for which he will serve a lifetime on the sex offender registry.
Yeah, I think I saved this one because he kind of looked like the Young sketch, but he also looked like the suspect from another case in Bloomington where somebody was exposing themselves. He looks just like that freaking sketch.
Lesenby says although charges have not been filed for the attempted abduction, he's positive they have the person of interest in the case.
This individual obviously could have still been out on the street this weekend, and who knows what may have developed there. So I'm glad it came to at least this conclusion.
Crazy case, Misha.
But
Crazy.
Lesenby says the incident is a terrifying reminder of the
That stuff
reality
does
all
happen.
parents must face.
As a parent in particular, be on your toes. Be aware of what's around the next corner.
Lesenby says Carroll County
What's up, Goat?
prosecutor Rob Ives is still evaluating the case. He says he wants to
Castration?
thank the public for its help
Yeah.
providing information.
I'm not
Jameson
opposed
is
to
being
that.
held without bond in the Tippecanoe County Jail. Samantha Tiki, News 18.
A Carroll County deputy is on administrative leave tonight, charged with trying to solicit sex from a couple last month. A special prosecutor charged Carroll County Sheriff's Department Deputy Jason
guy's
Dunning
freaky
with
nasty.
making an unlawful proposition for the incident that happened late in August. Carroll County Sheriff Toby
Freaky naughty.
Lisenby said Dunning was off duty at the time of the alleged incident. Dunning has been placed on administrative leave, and the case is being handled by the Clinton County Special Prosecutor.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight, a husband is in jail charged with beating his wife to death with a hammer.
WMAR 2 News' Jeff Hager with more on this deadly attack.
The initial call came out as a woman who had been struck in the head and was unconscious. It would soon be learned her fate had already been sealed. Court records suggest this two-story house on Dayspring Drive dates back more than a century. The 59-year-old Jeffrey Caples.
Dang, that's a cute house. Let me see that shit. Look at that. How can you be angry with that? It's like your little piece of heaven right there. What the fuck is wrong with you? Little farmhouse looking thing.
Century. The 59-year-old Jeffrey Caples and his
Oh,
wife
he looks
Kelly
crazy.
called it home for nearly 2 decades.
Always together,
He's
always
out of his
together,
damn
always
mind.
getting in and out of the car together, always in the yard together. Whenever I never saw one without the other.
This neighbor, who does not want to be identified, says that all changed on Wednesday afternoon. When Caples emerged from the house and police arrived to check on a report that his wife had been knocked unconscious and wasn't breathing inside.
It looked like a hammer and a knife was used, so it had to be just a god awful mess in there.
According to charging documents, investigators discovered her body lying in a pool of blood at the base of the staircase.
Damn, that's
Bloody
crazy.
hammer and 7-inch kitchen knife.
I mean, what could cause that? Well, he said they were always together. Like, yeah, you can't. I don't know. I don't think that's healthy. You got to like have your own space.
Laying nearby. Police also found defensive wounds on her fingers, where she had apparently tried to fight off her husband as he murdered her. Investigators also found the alleged killer had blood spatter on his face and clothing.
Little gingerbread
he has
house.
since
Look at
confessed to the
yeah.
killing, but neighbors are left to
It's like so
speculate
simple.
as to the reason why.
He said his last place of employment was the Horseshoe Casino down in Baltimore. He was
Oh,
a
I
dice
already
dealer
did,
at the craps
Tax.
table. I'm sure, like the missus said, that had to
I already
add
did,
to it.
man.
You're out of work, for this long a period of time, and yeah.
Jeffrey Caples is now being held at the Carroll County Detention Center in Westminster on a first-degree murder charge. Reporting in Hampstead, Jeff Hager, WMAR 2 News.
Good job, Jeff.
We begin.
Wow.
with
I'm surprised they haven't
breaking
played
news
any
now.
ads.
Police
That's
have
crazy.
made an arrest in connection with the death of a 14-year-old Carroll County boy. I'm Sarah Schuckman.
Good evening. I'm
Yeah, Tax. Got to imagine just one hit, bam, and your skull will just crack. You're done. Like one good hit from hammer. Well, if you're lucky and you get hit right on your forehead, you might just get like internal bleeding or something. But if somebody hits you in the back of the head, yeah, you're fucked.
Jay Crawford. Russ is off tonight. Jonathan Menard died almost 5 months ago.
And Channel 3's Amanda Abraham is live in Carrollton now.
Let's run that back. So apparently this guy's standing in for somebody else and he fucks up. Watch.
Good evening. I'm Jay Crawford. Russ
It's all good.
is
I'm
off
just saying.
tonight. Jonathan.
Russ is like, come on, don't blow this. Don't blow this, Bill.
Good evening. I'm Jay Crawford.
Don't blow this, Jake.
Of a 14-year-old Carroll County boy. I'm Sarah Schuckman.
Good evening. I'm Jay Crawford. Russ is off tonight. Jonathan Menard died almost 5 months ago.
And Channel 3's Amanda Abraham.
Oh, I can do this shit. Don't worry, man. It's easy. Your job's easy. I got this.
Almost 5 months ago.
And Channel 3's Amanda Abraham is live in Carrollton now.
She's
with what
thinking
we've been
rookie.
learning about the arrest. Amanda?
Hi, yeah, in just a few minutes, deputies will take the podium to release more details into this case. Of course, we'll bring you that as soon as we learn more information. But what we do know today is that the man arrested has been identified as Matthew Little. And today our cameras caught the moments where he was taken into custody. He was taken
Oh, there we
in
go.
handcuffs out of an unmarked sheriff's vehicle.
See?
Instantly sick. My
Now you
stomach.
know.
He
It's a little
seemed like he
preview.
had no remorse. Like he knew it was going to happen.
Reaction from the family of Jonathan Menard just hours after a grand jury indicted 30-year-old Matthew Little on 15 counts in connection with the 14-year-old's death. For months, community has been
It's like
left
Delphi.
searching for answers after Jonathan was found in a shallow grave at a Washington Township farm on April 19th, several days after he was reported missing. Menard's cause of death was ruled a homicide by acute fentanyl intoxication.
I don't think I've ever seen a more innocent face in my life.
Deputies had questioned a person of interest at the time of Jonathan's death, but no arrests were made until now. No word yet on exactly what charges Little is facing, and no word on motive.
I don't
They're
think
everywhere,
we'll ever truly
Granny.
know
They're
why,
all over the place.
why he was taken from us.
Stay vigilant.
Of course, there are still a list of questions that remain unanswered. That's why we're here today. In about 15 minutes, the press conference will start. We will be broadcasting live on our stream at
He's like, I'm going to wear the blue
WKYC.com
suit.
and our WKYC app. In Carrollton, Amanda Abraham, Channel 3 News.
It's the first steps towards justice. All right.
Oh,
Thank
they
you, Manny.
kicked him out. They kicked him out of the studio.
Breaking news overnight, 2 arrests are made in the murder of a Carroll County woman.
The sheriff's office arrested 20-year-old Kayla Fulton and 21-year-old Cody Fletcher. Both are from Galax. They're charged with the murder of 20-year-old Lexi Taylor and the improper disposal of a human.
Oh, I think this is one of my I think I was going to include it in one of my mean teens theory.
News overnight, 2 arrests are made in the murder of a Carroll County woman.
The sheriff's office arrested 20-year-old Kayla Fulton and 21-year-old Cody Fletcher. Both are from Galax. They're charged with the murder of 20-year-old Lexi Taylor and the improper disposal of a human body.
They were arrested after investigators found Taylor's car at a home in
It's a nice
Galax.
sports jacket.
After a brief chase, officers with Galax Police and the Carroll County Sheriff's Office arrested the pair.
They're being held in the New River Valley Regional Jail without bond. More charges are expected.
Yeah, I don't know
and
what
the
it is about
investigation
Indiana.
continuing.
As we've reported, hikers found
There's a
Taylor's
couple
body
places
off
that
the New
need some
River
help.
Trail Wednesday evening. The news was there when deputies investigated the scene. Sheriff J.B. Gardner says his motivation is clear.
The family deserves answers for this, and that's our goal. The family and the victim deserve the answers, and we want to find those answers for them. Very motivating.
The sheriff's office is waiting for the
Exactly,
medical examiner
BB.
to
Put it
determine
under
how she died.
a
Investigators
magnifying
have not
glass.
released a motive.
Of course, you're going to see everything that's there, you know. Oh, here's our ad. Hold on. Man, they were good to us, huh? Thanks, YouTube. Yeah, a lot of these are like Carroll County, Kentucky, Carroll County. There's a couple different Carroll County. I mean, they're nearby. They're within driving distance, but it's not Carroll County, Indiana. Not all of them. These are kind of like a lot of the videos I didn't use. I wanted to take a closer look at and possibly use them in some of my live streams, but they just never made the cut. And we're just going to watch them all. Super random.
Clark County man accused of killing and eating parts of his ex-girlfriend back in 2014. Jury selection is underway in the case of a Clark County man accused of killing and eating parts of his ex-girlfriend back in 2014. Dennis Ting joins us live from the Clark County Courthouse where the trial
NPC.
of Joseph Oberhansley is set
that's
to take
right.
place. Dennis, what can you tell us?
Well, that's right. While the trial will be held here in Clark County, that's not where the judge, the state, and defense are right now. They're actually up in Allen County, Indiana. That's near Fort Wayne, selecting a jury.
Sometimes they do.
It's been almost 6 years since Joseph Oberhansley was arrested in
Statistics can
September of
be
2014.
anecdotal
The Southern
to
Indiana
certain
man charged
areas.
with murder, rape, and burglary. Investigators say Oberhansley killed his ex-girlfriend, 46-year-old Tammy Jo Blanton, at her home in Jeffersonville. And had
Depends.
eaten parts of her body. His trial had been set for August of last year, but the judge declared a mistrial on the very first day after a witness gave testimony that the state and defense had agreed not to bring up. Oberhansley's
You guys hear that?
mistrial on the very first trial had been set for August of last year, but the judge declared a mistrial on the very first day after a witness gave testimony that the state and defense had agreed not to bring up.
Mistrial on the very first day. Okay. Now you want to talk about Delphi? This guy ate his girlfriend. And you're the family and you're sitting there on the front row. Look at them. They're looking at this guy. And you have, I don't know how many officers are protecting this man. They're just looking at him. Look, all of those eyes are on him right now. He ate somebody. And on the very first day, he's, the beginning of the quote unquote justice process, it's a mistrial. And the reason that kind of shit happens is because it's the judge's duty to protect the proceeding. And if she fails at that, she has to fucking admit it.
Oberhansley's attorneys then filed a motion claiming he was not competent to stand trial. An evaluation in January found Oberhansley incompetent. This is what Clark County prosecutor Jeremy Maltz said after that decision.
Once that process is complete and the state certifies to the trial court that he is competent again to stand trial, then I will be requesting that Judge Carmichael set the matter for an immediate jury trial and at last get the family the justice that they deserve in this case.
After a stay at Logansport State Hospital, which had been delayed by the coronavirus, Oberhansley had his competency restored in August. The judge, prosecutors, and defense attorneys had to travel to Allen County
I don't know.
to
He looks
select
a
a
little
jury
crazy.
due to the case's publicity. They had previously selected a jury from Hamilton County, north of Indianapolis. Found too many potential jurors had already known about the case to return there for this jury pool. Now, when I last spoke to the court clerk's office, I was told that 6 jurors
Shame
have
on you,
proceeded so
Bodacious.
far. Now, there needs to be a total of 12
Shame.
jurors plus 4 alternates selected
Good one.
before this trial can begin. Live in Clark County, Dennis Sting, WHAS 11 News.
Bad boy.
A man who was found guilty of killing his fiancée is sentenced. Brett Wheeler will spend 40 years in prison for Candy Gerber's murder. He killed Gerber and dumped her body on the side of the road. In August of 2016, police were called to the home on Denning Road after someone found blood in the basement. Gerber's body was later found at the intersection of Old Washington and Muller Roads in New Windsor.
What a minute.
Close one. Closer. Allen County. What are the odds? It's a sign. Yeah. Misha, that's right. Mistrial is exactly what Delphi is trying to avoid. And we're right on track. I mean, they've done a good job. If you think about it, they kind of cleared the path. They put the duty into capable hands, and it's really only been, it hasn't even been 3 weeks yet. You know what I mean? We're just impatient people. And she did the right thing. She brought Richard Allen back to Delphi to be present. Like, everything is running the way that I think that it should. I haven't seen one error, honestly. But I wouldn't be able to identify an error if there was one. Honestly, I'm not an expert. Oh, yeah, poor Bob Saget. That was a strange case. All right.
Are hundreds of unsolved cases in Maryland now. The Carroll County Sheriff's Department is hoping you can help to clear some of them.
Carroll
ABC 2
County?
News' Skylar Henry highlights some of the counties most wanted.
Fridays here on Good Morning Maryland, we're going to feature some of the areas most wanted.
Carroll
This
County,
week, it's
Maryland.
the Carroll County Sheriff's Office hoping you can help them locate 2 men they're searching for. We start off with Kyle Begley. He just had his 30th birthday this week. The deputies are looking for him. Begley, whose last known address is Westminster, is wanted for a burglary that happened October 7th in the 2400 block of Clydesdale Road in Finksburg. And Carroll County deputies also want to find Kenneth Lee Golden of Westminster. He's 40 years old and wanted for not paying his child support. If you have any information on these men, call the Carroll County Sheriff's Department. They want to hear from you. You can submit a tip by calling the main sheriff's office number. That's area code 410-386-2900, or call the county's tip hotline at 1-888-399-TIPS. For Maryland's Most Wanted, I'm Skylar Henry, ABC 2 News.
Oh, they're trying to hit me with all the ads right now. Oh, no, wait. Your Honor. Oh, yeah. This is an ad. Hold on. It looks like we can play a game called What State? Carroll County, but what state? Got Maryland, Kentucky. Which one's next? Well, I mean, you got to go through the process before you can call them these people, you know? Like, you don't know they're these people until you pay all this money to go through this process, which has proven them to be those people. So you kind of have to. You can't just go around accusing people, you know? We got to have some law. Yeah, it's a horrible situation. Could be suicide. It happens all the time. Very similar to what happened with her, actually. You guys would be surprised. Lobotomies and shit. Hey, what up, dude? Good to see you. Long time no see. Big pun. Still not a player. I'm still not a player, but I crush a lot. That's a good track. Don't ever put Keegan Kline and Big Pun in the same sentence again. It was highly offensive. Plus, Big Pun was a real G. Sorry, I'm just catching up on the chat real quick. Bossy, they kind of did it under the cover of like darkness, you know. It was shrouded in secrecy. I mean, I was looking for the transport order and I couldn't find it. And then boom, just like that, it was available. I think it was available on the 16th, but it was actually processed on the 16th. So that means he was already probably, you know, safe and sound, and then they put it up. Because it's only going to be a day's drive, you know. I don't know, what is that, like a, you know, 3 to 6 hour drive? I don't know. Yeah, Lisa, that's a very strange case. You know, I don't understand what was going on with Flora. You had a house full of adults, you know, those kids weren't alone. They weren't like walking around and kidnapped and taken anywhere. They were there with the people that were supposed to be protecting them. So I don't know what happened. It's a horror, you know. I just don't know how you explain something like that. That type of tragedy. I just don't think you should try. Unless you have the facts. There's too much going on with that case. I don't know if I'm going to touch that one. I agree with that. Repo says, I think if a judge backs out, he should have to stop being a judge. Well, he didn't back out. He recused himself. So it's his job to be fair and impartial. And if you can't be fair and impartial, you can't run that courtroom because that's what's required of you. So I have a feeling that either he was connected to this guy, maybe even through family, you know, could even be like a conflict of interest. But I guess you don't have to give an excuse. But if he felt there was something like that, he just recused himself. It's his responsibility to protect the integrity, you know. So that was him basically doing his duty or playing his part in a bigger role, which may have been a strategy, which I think played out beautifully. So whatever they're doing right now is playing out magnificently, and I'm very happy with the proceedings so far. Yeah, I'm sure they're keeping an eye on him. Go. You know, that goes with pretty much any prisoner facing those types of charges, even less charges. There you go. Rest in peace. Shout out to the Big Punisher. Yeah. You're talking about a legend and a peasant, you know, like less than a peasant. Like, you know, even a peasant has his dignity and his pride. Well, I can't catch up, guys. Okay, let me jump a few. Sorry. Glitter asks, Sleuth, any ideas, rumors about what brought law enforcement to Richard Allen's house for the search? I mean, if we're going to stick to the facts, I'm going to say Kagan Klein in some way. Because the alternative is they have a lot of explaining to do, and I don't like to go there right now. We can save that for another time. But I mean, the timing and everything, the dominoes falling. I mean, it looks like Kagan Klein. Maybe even without knowing it, you know? Maybe whatever information he was able to provide was able to tip the scales and intrigue the prosecutor. I don't know. And then whatever they found with the search warrant basically sealed the deal. Man, ain't no, I mean, even people in prison ain't trying to touch that dude. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure he's going to be okay. That's how bad he is. He's more of an errand boy. He's too ugly. Yeah, I heard that information, but I just don't know how accurate that is. All right. We actually did it. We caught up with the chat. Here we go.
For the second time this year, Kentucky State Police have teamed up with Carroll County Police to get drug traffickers off the street.
And as Eric King explains, they were using the element of surprise.
If you've got to ride in a police car, this is the way to do it. Up front and on the search.
We had 16 arrest warrants to serve this morning. The arrest warrants were all for trafficking and controlled substance.
Kentucky.
Majority of them were for heroin, and some of them were for prescription pills.
Well before the sun came up Friday morning, Kentucky State Police and the Carroll County Police Department hit the streets on a search for drug traffickers.
We do this in the morning because a lot of times you can catch people asleep, catch them at home. It's easier to find them there. Element of surprise.
Catch them lacking.
And one by one, the element of surprise proved to be effective.
We do this because we want to keep drugs off the street. Heroin is coming back in the community in a big way. We want to try to get a hold of it before it really gets a foothold here in the county. And by doing this, we're getting people off the streets who are out there selling.
And with the element of surprise being paramount, police say this type of bust will happen again. It's just a matter of when.
Blue coat.
And where.
Substance abuse is a problem all over. We're just trying to keep it from becoming a bigger problem.
Eric King, WLKY News.
State and local police served arrest warrants on 10 suspects indicted by the Carroll County grand jury on drug charges. They are still searching for 6 others. Indictments came after a 4-month undercover investigation.
Shelby County tonight, a man is charged with murder after a fisherman discovered a woman's body in a local creek. A release from Kentucky State Police telling us that the body of 28-year-old Liliana Moss of Nassau County, New York, was found by that man on Clear Creek near Shelbyville yesterday afternoon. KSP says William Dodd of Anderson, Indiana, is now charged with murder, tampering with physical evidence, and abuse of the court in Moss's death.
Just into the RTV6 newsroom, federal authorities have arrested 4 people in connection with that HIV outbreak in southern Indiana. The DEA says the 4 men distributed Opana painkillers and methamphetamine in Scott and Clark
Gross.
counties. Authorities blame Opana use for the HIV outbreak in southern Indiana, one with 170 cases so far. The virus spread by shared dirty needles
I don't know,
used to
Misha.
inject the drug.
I really don't
remain in
know.
jail tonight.
Human behavior is so strange. It's hard to call it.
You can be confident choosing Farmers.
You know, it's hard to call it. Blue coat. Oh, check this shit out. This is kind of creepy. This guy was giving me bridge guy vibes for sure.
A call for help tonight from the Carroll County Sheriff's Office as it
Not
tries to
Indiana. I think
identify
this is
this
Wisconsin.
man seen on surveillance with a hatchet.
Or Wyoming
The
or some
department
shit.
says he tried to get into its office in Ossipee on Friday. The sheriff's office wants to find this man so they can figure out what he wanted and to try and make sure he isn't trying to hurt himself.
Look at this fool. Look at that thing on his hip. Tell me that shit doesn't look reminiscent. Crazy. Probably is Daniel Nations. That's funny.
Seen on surveillance with a hatchet. The department says he tried to get into its office in Ossipee on Friday. The sheriff's office wants to find this man so they
He's like, yo, let me in, man. I promise. Like, I'm not here to cause any problems. Just open the door. I swear. I'll be chill. Just open the door.
can figure out what he wanted and to try and make sure he isn't trying to hurt himself or someone else.
Yeah, I think that's Wyoming.
Thomas Williams. 44-year-old Thomas Williams accused of impersonating a police officer. In court today, we learned it wasn't his first time.
He has an extensive criminal history of fraud and involved offenses, as well as some minor misdemeanor violence, swindling, as well as impersonating an officer on a prior occasion in.
The fuck is swindling? Is he selling snake oil?
Involved offenses, as well as some minor misdemeanor violence, swindling, as well as impersonating an officer on a prior occasion in New York.
Illegally riding a horse into city territory.
Williams' most recent arrest came last month after a trooper passed him on State Route 73 in Clear Creek Township.
He noticed that what appeared to be a undercover police car coming at him with red and blue lights flashing.
The trooper thought that was unusual, so he pulled Williams over.
He wasn't dressed in any type of police uniform. He did have a badge displayed that he was wearing on his chest.
Troopers say his temporary license plate was forged. In this incident, investigators don't believe Williams attempted to make any traffic stops, but rather used the lights to get to where he was going faster. This, however, is a good reminder.
If you're being stopped for a minor misdemeanor traffic violation, it's going to be someone that's in the uniform of the day in a marked patrol car.
Yeah, he
overhead
is.
lights on top of the car. It's not going to be hidden in the grill or anything.
Yeah, he's probably
Williams'
responsible
appearance
for
in
some
court
crimes
today
over in
was
Moab.
quite bizarre. In regards to my diplomatic status in another country, known as Russia.
Look at this fool.
Even after being
He
advised
reminds
to
me
keep
of that
quiet,
Darryl Brooks
Williams
guy.
kept talking. I'm just trying to add to the reason why I would not be imposing a threat
Thank
on
you,
the
Jules.
outside in regards to
Look at the guy behind him.
police on my own recognizance.
Look, if I've ever seen an ass whooping coming, That's one right there. Watch. Look at the guy in the background. He's going to get his ass beat.
Quiet. Williams kept talking.
For sure.
I'm just trying to
Watch
add to the reason why we're not be imposing a threat on the outside.
Look at him. He's like, I can't
in
wait.
regards to if I was released on my own recognizance.
Wasting my motherfucking time.
And today, the magistrate kept Williams' bond at $15,000.
That's an ass whooping. I guarantee
live
he
in
got
Lebanon tonight,
punched.
Karen Johnson, WLWT News 5.
Karen, I know this is not the first time in our area where, of course, there have been reports of police impersonators. So any other tips from officers for drivers who may be unsure if they are being pulled over by a real cop?
Yeah, you know, Cherie, if you're being pulled over and you suspect maybe it's not a real cop, you can always call 911 and a dispatcher should be able to verify if it is indeed a cop. If you are already pulled over and if that officer isn't in uniform, that should be a red flag.
All right, Karen Johnson reporting live for us tonight. Karen, thanks.
Delphi police are asking for your help to find the man who robbed a gas station at gunpoint this morning, right across the street from the Carroll County Sheriff.
Okay, check this out. Okay. So imagine you just started looking into the Delphi case, all right? Take yourself back to that time. And you're looking through old footage and you see this video right here. I think this was taken February 8th, 2017, just a few days before the crime. And watch the guy that walks into this fucking door.
Office. It happened around 5 at the Sunoco on Main
Like, what the fuck?
Street. Police say he took all the money in the
Blue
cash
jacket,
register,
covered
plus
face with a
cigarettes,
white, like a
and
white
the gas
thing.
station's phone as he left and then rode away on a bicycle. Gas station owner Paul Singh says even with a strong police presence in the area, this Sunoco has been robbed.
And look, it's across the street from the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. Where were those laser beams? Awful. Simply awful.
3 times.
Everything was okay for a while, and this
Then
just really
Tobe laser beam.
shocked me.
Singh says in 2011, one of his employees was stabbed during an armed robbery. That employee survived, and the robber was convicted. Singh says he
Okay, so I want you guys to listen to what just happened. This is not some quaint little town. Listen, the gas station across the street from the sheriff's office is being robbed. They're telling us stories about how one of the other cashiers was stabbed.
was convicted. Singh says he hopes the same thing happens to the man responsible for today's robbery. Of course, anyone with information is asked to call Delphi Police.
Crazy.
A man is facing charges in Howard County after investigators say he...
Oh, FYI, that guy was caught, I think, like later that day. It was some Mexican guy with like tattoos on his face and shit. He looked crazy.
lured a woman into his car and then raped her. They say 32-year-old Michael Leali knew the victim from a convenience store where she worked. Investigators say back in October, Leali asked the woman to meet him in a parking lot, then told her to get inside his vehicle so they could talk. Once inside, officers say the man drove the victim to a secluded area where he forced her to perform sex acts. Leali faces several charges, including rape and attempted criminal confinement.
I want you to take a look. They released a surveillance image of that suspect. This was an incident that took place December 5th. Granted, it's dark and a little grainy, but you can see he was wearing sandals.
Yeah, apparently I looked in. This was a short clip from a case I covered in a live stream, and apparently he had sexually assaulted somebody in Indiana at a public event, and they were able to catch him shortly after on video. I mean, this dude looks creepy as fuck.
At the time.
So if this sparks any idea of who this person is or you know anything about this case, please call Lafayette Police.
The arrest of a 19-year-old man here in Oklahoma for child sex
Hey,
crimes.
I remember you.
Unearths more concerns about social media. News 9's Felice Romero is here with the investigation unfolding in Enid. Felice?
Stay vigilant. Enid's
Police.
Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force says that remains their best advice for parents. The warning comes after a suspect's account set off alarms. 19-year-old Justin Shackley is behind bars in Garfield County.
Okay. The second I saw this guy's face, I was like, I don't trust you. I don't know what it is. He just doesn't look trustworthy. I don't know why.
On a $250,000 bond.
He had viewed, downloaded, shared child pornography, and then ended up showing me multiple images and videos on his phone of child porn. And that's what he was arrested for.
Enid investigators say it started with a
Keegan Klein
notification
type.
from the app Kick and then continued with Instagram and Snapchat.
And in Instagram,
what?
there's probably 7 or 8, maybe up to 10 different profiles associated with that investigation.
Shackley leaving a big enough digital footprint to get the attention of the Regional Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. They called Enid Police.
They have applications and smart technology that can capture and recognize when pornographic material or child images are being sent.
Police say Shackley admitted to convincing someone he was texting to sexually abuse a child, record it, and send it to him.
He admitted.
That's that Darren Schillmiller stuff where they trick people, they catfish people into abusing children, and that's how they get their CSAM, like through catfishing.
To having viewed, shared, and sending that graphic video to other users.
Investigators say while these types of cases are never easy, there are things parents can do to be proactive in a digital age.
Parents absolutely have to monitor
hit the thumbs
their
up.
children's
What's wrong with
social media activity. There's filters you can put on your routers, modems, phones to kind of filter this content from even being able to be viewed or for them to even share stuff.
Officers arrested Shackley on 10 sex crime complaints. They tell me he could face more as their investigation continues. Feliz Romero, Oklahoma Zone, News 9.
That's loud. Hold on. Drop that down.
The U.S. Justice Department says Jason
Oh man, this is a bad one, guys. Yeah, just a little warning, I guess. This one's really disturbing.
Janacek used a toddler to create pornographic images. The department says he babysat the 18-month-old and took explicit photos on his iPhone, then sent them to a man in New Zealand via the Kick app. Janacek's screen name, The Lover of the Little. Janacek freelanced as a babysitter using an online sitter service. He also worked at Acorn Children's Center in Oklahoma City. KOCO talked to his former employer earlier this year.
The Homeland Security investigator said, well, he didn't have access to children, which is why he left you. He was trying to find someone that would let him be the babysitter in their home environment.
Yeah, sending the laser beam.
The DOJ says Janacek
Simple.
looked up things online like having sex with a special needs child and how do I adopt a baby.
Oh,
The department
man.
says he had also molested.
This dude, you know, when you just meet somebody, you're like, ugh. You know, if you were just to meet this guy, I don't know. I think it'd be pretty be easy to tell, but you never know.
3-year-old girl. And when Janacek gets out of prison, he will be on supervised release for the rest of his life.
Well, Google is responsible for helping Indiana State Police arrest a Muncie man for
Yeah, he had a
possession of
long
child
mullet
porn.
in that
As you know,
video.
the tech giant has been criticized in the past for not being hard enough on stopping sex crimes, but in this case, it flagged files on the man's Google account. Fox 59's Mike Sullivan shows us what happened next.
It's a case of big tech playing Big Brother. In this instance, aiding Indiana State Police in catching a Muncie man who admitted to police in an interview he uploaded child pornography to his Google accounts.
For many years, Google has used part of Microsoft's Photo DNA software to be able to track.
Yeah, that's a horrible
emails
case too,
specifically
Misha.
related to child sex abuse materials.
According to court
Yep,
documents,
standard.
37-year-old Justin Potts uploaded 2 graphic images to his account. along
Even
with
though
a
you look
picture of his
40,
license.
you try to
Checked
look
the
like you're
IP
8.
address that accessed the account matched that of Potts and the license. Potts was already a registered sex offender.
These softwares are trained or designed to enter IP addresses first and foremost. They look for IP addresses that are uploading, downloading, sending, at times, very large files.
Andrew Ross, that was an attorney focused on internet law.
On the other hand, It can also be small files,
Right,
a one-off
Jules.
image, a one-off video.
Google reported the uploads to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They in turn contacted the Indiana State Police, who applied for a search warrant at Potts' residence.
Federal law requires service providers like Google to cooperate and to disgorge and to identify and
Yeah,
hand
Repo. That's why I
over
said it. It's
any
hard. It makes me
instances of
cringe.
that.
Rossow says the area can get gray when it comes to how far service providers can go or need to go to maintain federal standards.
What does compliance mean? Is it a minimum? We're just doing our job.
But the more you know, the
or
better
are we
prepared you will
searching
be.
frequently?
Rossow adds that as long
Especially
as the
if you
evidence
got
was gathered
kids.
correctly by law
You got
enforcement,
a duty.
data Google spotted can be used against Potts in court. In Muncie, I'm Mike Sullivan, Fox 59 News.
Now, we did reach out to the Indiana State Police for comment on this case. We have not been able to connect with them for that comment.
Yes, Glitter. I ain't leaving my kids there. This dude was trying to adopt kids. Like, please tell me you guys have a really secure method.
Holidays, be extra.
Please. Yeah, I think I shared some of these not too long ago. Let me see what else I got here. I guess I can skip some of these. Which one's this? Oh, you guys don't want to see this one. This was for a live stream.
Cowardly and corner dwellers. And
I don't know what this is. This is like Jordan Maxwell. Let's see what this is. What's going on with this one?
to abide. So anyways, you got these two-bit hoods here who think they're really something. They also think they're tough and dangerous, and they're not. They're just, cowardly and corner dwellers, and they confuse their unwillingness to abide by reasonable rules as indication of their heroic courage, which is something else that low-rent hoods like to do, And it's partly because lots of people who just attend to the law do that because they're cowardly, which is a Nietzschean
What's up, Sophia?
observation. Are you good, or are you just afraid? Let's start with afraid first, before we proceed to good. And that the reason that you follow the rules is because you're afraid of getting caught. Well, those kids who, often university kids who are in like
Yeah,
hockey
Repo. They
riots and
often
end up breaking windows and
reoffend.
stealing things, and they get nailed for it, and afterwards they're really blown away by their own behavior. It's like, well, they're in that camp. It's like they think they're good people, but they're not. They're just never anywhere where you could be bad. And as soon as you put them somewhere where they could be bad, it's like out it comes.
Oh yeah, go. How about the guy Kane? Is it? Yeah, I think it's Velasquez. Tried to kill. Yeah, I mean, think about it. Kane could kill most men with his bare hands. You know what I mean? Or at least in a fight. So for him to get the gun, like he was in like a rage. And unfortunately, as awful as it is, those are the fears that I have. Like I fear for anybody that would ever try to fucking do anything to my family because I know what I'll do. So when I see what Kane did, it's like, it's almost like he was just doing, it was his responsibility. Unfortunately. It's not anybody else's responsibility. It was his. He could have done it completely differently, but whatever consequences came from those actions, it was his duty.
Just like that. And that's really worth thinking about, because most of you, many of you, but not all of you, I suspect, have never really been somewhere that you could be really bad and get away with it. So you might think, well, you wouldn't do it, but people do it all the time. So anyways, they're talking about some exploits, and they see that this character named Stromboli, who's a marionette, he has a puppet show, right? And he's kind of a wheeler dealer too. Remember, I showed you that mask that was glaring at Pinocchio when he got his voice? It's like Stromboli is one of his manifestations. The fox here is another one of his manifestations. All the negative characters throughout the movie are manifestations of the same thing. It's partly the adversarial individual, and it's partly the tyrannical aspect of society. It's the negative masculine. That's one way of thinking about it. So, and you know, when men go bad, they often go bad by being antisocial and tyrannical. Where there's way more antisocial men than there are antisocial women, which is why there's 20 times as many men in jail as there are women. You know, so each gender, let's say each sex, has its own characteristic pathologies. And there are some antisocial women, you know, and there are some high neuroticism guys who are, or some guys who are
Bossy,
really
yes,
agreeable as
very,
well. So,
very
but
intelligent.
they're rarer. So
Everybody
anyways,
that
he
knows
sees
him
this,
says that.
this poster advertising Stromboli's puppet show. Stromboli's a puppet master. Now that's really worth thinking about, because that's an archetypal theme, or it's at least attached to an archetypal theme. Something's behind the scenes pulling the strings.
Oh,
And
that's
everybody
cool.
always wonders what that is, right? What's actually going on? What's actually going on with Trump?
Definitely
Who's
an important
actually in
mind for our
control?
time.
Is it Putin? I mean, that's the fantasies of the left. It's Putin. Like, well, the question always is, what's going on behind the scene, right? And the question is, that's the case certainly on the political landscape, business landscape,
Oh,
interpersonal
that's awful,
relations.
Rico.
What are you
I'm
really
sorry,
up to?
man.
Everyone's always wondering that, right?
That's horrible.
Why they're watching your eyes. Because your eyes
Not
point at
knowing
things,
has got to be
and they can
awful.
infer
I'm so
what
sorry.
you're interested in and then what you're up to by looking at what you look at. And that's why your eyes have whites, so that we can see where you're pointing, as gorillas don't. And so what that
It
means,
could
roughly
be.
speaking, is that all of your ancestors,
But
whose
usually
eyes
people who
couldn't be
think that
reliably tracked, were either killed or
are
didn't
basing
mate.
it or being
Big
pressured by
deal for
their
us to see where people's
political
eyes are pointed. So we're
affiliations.
always watching each other's eyes constantly. What are you up to? What are you up to? What are you looking at? What do you want? And I want to know, because if I know what you want, I can predict how you're going to behave. And that also means I can cooperate with you, or I can compete with you, or I can lie to you.
Thank you, Haley.
But all the information is in the eyes,
to
it's
see you.
surrounded by the facial display, right? Because that's also an indication of motivation and emotion. And so we're like, our eyes are so good at that for you guys sitting there in the back, I can tell if you're looking at my eyes or at my chin. And the deviation in your eyes is so tiny that it's a kind of miracle that we're capable of making that perceptual observation. Really important to us. So, and we have really good eyes, so that's another thing about us. So
Move this one along. That one's like 10 minutes.
Cults share certain defining characteristics. In a cult, leaders recruit members through deceptive techniques that rob them of their identity and individuality. Experts have termed these techniques thought reform.
Thought reform is a systematic effort which has two stages. One is the breakdown stage with heavy confession and a breakdown of one's own psychic integrity. And then there's the second stage, which is re-education, trying to remake a person into a new person.
Two of the things that are required for consent. The first is that the person must know, have full information of what is involved in the cult. And the second is that they have to have the real freedom to say yes and no. The reality is most cults do not fully disclose all of the rules.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you for the
wouldn't
support.
say to somebody,
Haley.
well, if you join Jehovah's Witnesses, you'll never be able to celebrate holidays again. And if a family member leaves the group, you'll never be able
Yes,
to talk to them again.
he's an
The fact
incredible
that there isn't that
communicator,
full
and that's what we're
disclosure,
lacking today
a
is
lot of
communication.
people are basically manipulated into
It's like
thinking they're
we're
joining something different.
It's like we think we're
than what they
evolving, but
actually
we're
get.
really becoming like stupider in certain areas. Important areas like communication, connection.
Hi there. I'm Elder Smith, and this is Elder Pascal.
Yeah, I like Joe Rogan.
I'm younger Joan. Sorry. It's that I'm the youngest of three sisters.
Got it. We're from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We have a program that's been proven to strengthen families, and we'd be honored to share it with you, absolutely free of charge. Are you interested?
Well, I already attend church, Redeemer Presbyterian right down the road.
That's wonderful. This
Get
is
her.
information that all faiths can benefit from. And if you allow us to come in, we can tell you more about it.
Establish front groups.
We're a Bible study group.
We're a management course. We're a meditation center.
We're a world peace organization. We're a personal development
Just drink the Kool-Aid. It's good.
center.
We're a drug rehab center.
Promise to fulfill their dreams.
Don't you want a world of unconditional love and brotherhood? We have the secrets to self-improvement. You can join us on these special. Join our elite mission to save the world.
Where do I sign up?
We can teach you special powers, personal power,
Psychic power.
Past life connection, telekinesis.
Why people stay in abusive cults? Because there's this constant kind of dangling the carrot that
They had me at lots of weed.
if you're good enough, you will get everything that you've been promised.
What attracts a person if they're not born into a cult? What attracts them to even want to be part of a cult?
Very often what people are looking for is an idea.
She's like, why? You looking to join? You looking for a cult?
Idealized view of life. Something that attracts them to is that it's something different from the
Kid, it's called Jesus Juice.
mainstream, different from something they know. But a cult will provide you, at least at first when it's doing its recruiting, with the notion that you will be able to have your dreams come true, or you'll be able to have a relationship with God. You'll be able to have a more authentic and successful existence overall.
I think that
Sign me up.
As Vernon Howell deepened his relationship with Lois Roden, it became clearer and clearer that she was going to groom him to be her successor.
With Roden's endorsement, Vernon Howell succeeded her as leader of the Mount Carmel community. And because the Davidians were already indoctrinated to believe in modern prophets, Vernon had a compliant group from the start.
When Vernon came on the scene, it was strange to have somebody new being given the pulpit, but we have been taught to give everybody a hearing that claims to have something from God.
I used to think that people would have to be mildly mentally ill or pretty severely mentally ill to be drawn into a cult. And I totally disagree with that now.
What these organized groups have evolved into.
Oh, Bossy. Bossy says, speaking of Kool-Aid, Jim Jones is also from Indiana. Oh, man, the story of Jim Jones. Talk about the worst of the worst. He preached in Somerset, Indiana. Wow. Oh, talk about a messed up story. Yeah, we might have to cover that one, Bossy.
Is organizations of power, money, and sex.
His savior seems more interested in the girls. Last year, Michael held a ceremony with 7 virgins to mark the world's impending doom.
I might
One of
even
the
have something on
volunteers
Jim Jones.
Was a
actually.
14-year-old girl Michael had renamed Healed. Her parents had also left the cult.
It's very easy for any system of thought, religious or otherwise, that comes along. It's very easy to play on that, to play on our insecurities, to assure us all is well, we'll all be taken care of. We lap that up. So don't blame religion. Blame our own insecurities, which has allowed religion to flourish, and which has allowed so many systems of thought that are disempowering to flourish throughout human history. That's why we can't get out of it.
There are plenty of people who are more than happy to do what a cult wants them to do, which is ultimately to suspend disbelief, to not have that critical eye that keeps you really safe from people who are charlatans, people who really are taking advantage of you. People are at times vulnerable.
Charlatans. That's a crazy word.
They have an openness to being in an idealized world. But also, sometimes people are vulnerable because of the time that they were recruited. there are times in our lives, as we all know, where we're going to be more vulnerable than at other times. And so sometimes it's just the luck of the draw that the recruiter approaches the person
Wow,
at the
Shay.
right, or I should say, wrong
It's
time.
a hell of a story.
Offer them something free and get them to feel obliged to give you something in return.
Well, we gave you that free dinner. The least you could do is come to our weekend intensive.
Reciprocation, which suggests that we are obligated to give back to others
Yeah.
the form of behavior that they have given
Scary
to
case.
us. So if someone
Very
does us
chilling.
a favor, we're significantly more likely to say yes when they ask for a favor in return. That's why the Hare Krishna, for example, society in the airport will come up to you and give you something before they ask for a donation. It can be a flower, a book, whatever.
You want to see how a true bad man plies his trade?
Yes.
All right.
You guys recognize John Moran?
Some brought candy, some brought condoms. But one man brought something we didn't expect. A warning, some of what you are about to see and hear is explicit. Here's Chris Hansen.
Well, help me to understand. I mean, simply put, one guy has his in her mouth.
Oh, geez.
The other guy has his in her or her.
Oh, dang.
Coming up, a new approach. Here we got three guys, sending in a scout to make sure the coast is clear.
I'm going to go call a couple friends since you have a couple friends.
Wow, that's so creepy. That's got to be some of the creepiest shit I've ever seen. Imagine coming home and seeing that. Imagine if that was a real kid and these guys were coming up and she was all alone. I mean, they could have taken her. Nobody would even known it was these guys. She's been gone forever. Son of a gun.
Grooming is procedures that an offender would go through to make the intended victim more compliant, to get the individual, the child, to go along with it, or at least not protest, not run away, not fight, not resist. Grooming is all those procedures to make the child pliable.
I would just be friendly, play, have I had them come over to have some brownies, give them some brownies and let them have colors and crayons and do some artwork. And, first it starts
We'll be
out
back.
that way.
And the grooming can be all sorts of things.
Must have been, yeah, it must have been Hanson. And just like that, looks like we're back. All right, let me start this one over. Hold on. Sorry about the dogs. Hold on.
Grooming is the procedures that an offender would go through to make the intended victim more compliant. to get the individual, the child, to go along with it, or at least not protest, not run away, not fight, not resist. And so grooming is all those procedures to make the child pliable, so to speak.
I would just be friendly, play, have I had them come over to have some brownies, give them some brownies, and let them have colors and crayons and do some artwork. And first it starts out that way.
And the grooming can be all sorts of things. The individual or the predator could start off by finding opportunities to spend time with the child that would be in excess of what you'd reasonably expect of someone who knew the mother only that period of time. Offer to do babysitting, offer to watch the kids while the mother runs an errand, offers to take the child to go do an activity. And at that point just gets friendly with the child, gets to know the child.
I was groomed as a child. My abusers they weren't strangers. They were people close to me. They were people that I trusted.
It's usually what it is.
People that my family liked, people that were important people in my life. They were close to me.
It starts very slow. People have an idea that if someone's sexually abused, they're grabbed off the street and stolen away, and it's physically violent. For most people like me, it's a very gradual process that the pedophile gets to know the child.
Less of two evils.
Pedophiles are patient. They take their time. They develop a relationship. And,
they groom.
Earn the trust of the child. They earn the trust of the family.
Patient.
I think that a perpetrator, when they start to groom a child, they want to see how far that they can take it and then they will slowly progress into doing different things and seeing how far they can go and seeing if the child will disclose or tell.
Yeah, if you're watching your kids, you don't have anything to worry
trap
about.
the child by, you were smoking, you were drinking. You saw this a lot with the Boy Scouts. So then it's, if you tell, I'll tell them you were smoking dope, and they're going to see it if I test you for drugs. So it's, how can I trap
Hey, you should
these
question everyone.
children in any way, shape, or form that I can? And it's a constant path of lies and deceit that starts so innocently that children can't pick it up. And that's why they fall victim so quickly to a pedophile.
King's Cross, St Pancras. This man has travelled from Northampton to have sex with a 13-year-old girl. He has groomed her online and now wants to meet her for real. But his meeting isn't going to go as planned.
Got him.
He made contact with Amy here in TeenSpot. It's an online chat room for teenagers. 6 weeks ago, we set up Amy's profile and recruited a 19-year-old who looked 13. Within minutes, our fictitious 13-year-old was bombarded with male attention.
Uh-oh.
Not all of them
This
were
is just some more
teenagers.
Chris Hansen
Many
just from somewhere
were
else.
adult
Hold
men.
on, I don't want to get shut down again. I'm going to skip that one. All right, we'll just play a couple more. What is this? Oh yeah, this is a good one. Oh no, this one's really long. Oh, here's one on Delphi.
More than 950 tips in the span of about 24 hours. This after Indiana State Police released a new sketch, video, and audio of the prime suspect in the investigation into who killed Abby Williams and Libby German in Delphi in the year 2017. And we've been asking so many questions, and you have been asking us as well. One of the questions you've been asking is, why is this new sketch so vastly different than the other? a sketch released nearly 2 years ago.
Well, working for you, Call 6 Investigates Paris LaBelle has been tracking down answers to those questions you've been asking, and he joins us with what he's finding out.
Happens every day. We simply walk by somebody. And it's exactly what happened in Delphi, our Call 6 team learning that those sketches were created from people who spotted the suspect on that day.
Well, obviously, this new sketch, we've all been looking for the wrong man for 2.5 years.
But with that, why are the two sketches so different?
Most of us think we see things, but in fact, we don't see what we really saw.
Jim White is a retired state police district commander and is now part of IUPUI's School of Public and Environmental Affairs.
When we go to the artist and try to get the artist to create a rendition of what we think we saw, many times it's not what we really did see.
Remember back to that person that walked by the camera at the beginning of the story? That was RTV6's real-time manager, Bob Blake. But can you remember what he was wearing? Was it a light gray shirt, a white shirt, or a black shirt? Can you remember his face? Was he wearing glasses? Think about
Gray
it
shirt.
for another moment. It's hard to do.
There's a big problem with composite drawing.
Former FBI agent and ABC News contributor Brad Garrett says often the composite sketches don't even look like the suspect.
If you and I walk by each other and I don't know you, and then somebody says, let's do a drawing of the person you just walked by, it would be sort of pieces of information left in my memory about who you are. And so as a result, then the composite obviously could well not be accurate.
Back to the person that walked by earlier in the story, it's probably even harder now to recall the shirt color and if he was wearing glasses, let alone what his face looked
Glasses,
like.
gray shirt.
If you remembered a black shirt and glasses, you were right.
It's grayish.
But what about after a few days? That's some of the things investigators have struggled with and points to some of the reasons why the sketches could be so different. Investigators say this new sketch is the primary sketch, and if you have any information about this person, call the tip line. They also say make sure you don't take this sketch and put it next to somebody else's picture on social media. That's just detrimental to the investigation.
Yeah, don't be
Reporting
doing that
tonight,
shit.
Paris LaBelle, RTV6.
Paris, thank you for all of that information. All of this is about getting justice for the Delphi daughters, Abby and Libby. And the reward for the information that leads to an arrest in the case now stands at more than $200,000. If you recognize the man in the new sketch or have any information on this case, you're asked to call the tip line.
Yeah, it almost seems like the first sketch was much closer, right?
Number you see right there on the screen, 844-459-5786. Again, that number, 844-459-5786. There's also a special email account for your tips. There it is as well. It's Abby and Libby tip at CACOSHRF.com.
What was that it?
Delphi, Indiana, a warm winter day.
Yeah, this one's about 20 minutes. Plus, I got to get out of here, guys. So I will catch up on the chat, and then we'll call it a night. Yeah, what a strange question. I mean, you can't get a reward if you're part of the crime. There's just no way. Your reward is not, you know, you're rewarded in a different way. Yeah, I got some leftovers in the fridge. About to grub those up and pass out. Thanks again, Haley. It's possible. Thanks, Misha, for your participation. Appreciate it. Good to see you, Bossy. Teresa. That was some good laughs. All right, guys. On that note, maybe I'll see you tomorrow. See if I can put something together for you around lunchtime. Good night.